Chapter 1096, The Price of Life. Fear also crept inside Will Art's heart. He deeply regretted his decision, since he only cared about the benefits promised by Angelo. It was the very reason he intervened in this matter, yet it now led him into danger due to his own misjudgment. Run away? But how? They were in the middle of the ocean and surrounded by blue sea waters. Unless he could become a sea critter that could freely surf the sea, else he would either drown due to losing his strength or meet his demise in the enemy's hands. How about we talk about this, Mr. Tang? The four old men around Will Art quickly blocked Moao and Kawako Yamamoto, and Will quickly made up his mind and shouted. A contemptuous look flashed in Tang Xiu's eyes as he lightly smiled. You already decided to help Angelo Dolan, and lots of your men have been slain by mine. Do you think there's anything else that can be talked about between us, huh? I've never been short on manpower, Mr. Tang, Will Art replied in a deep tone. You just killed one group of men, so I naturally have a replacement. If you like it, I can send a group of people to let your men have a good time slaughtering them. I really feel honored for your men whom their big boss is so kind and great yet doesn't take their lives seriously. Tang Xiu gave a thumbs up and praised. Will Art, let me tell you. I didn't have the intention to kill you and just wanted to make you act so you can fetch me a good price. Alright, tell me your chips since you want to talk. I can consider it if you can pique my curiosity. This was much to Will Art's liking. But as he was about to reply, he suddenly felt a sharp gaze from the side. Angelo Dolan glared at him furiously and shouted, Will, how could you? You're my old buddy and we've known each other for more than a decade. Don't tell me you're gonna be like that shit demon freak and betray me too? I'll give you 60% profits of Africa's Dante diamond mine. Will Art liked wealth and had been dreaming of living in a palace made of pure gold and decorated by the valuable gemstones. However, if he must choose between life and fortune, he would definitely not hesitate to choose the former. He was still sane. Even if all the riches in the world were to be given to him, what was all it for if he was not alive to enjoy it? Will Art drew in a deep breath and quickly moved away from Angelo, sneering. Old buddy, huh? There's nothing but benefits between us. We spent only a little time knowing each other. You just witnessed their strength yourself, Angelo. Just give up immediately, else you'll only head to your death. But no way in hell will I follow you. Having said that, he ignored Angelo's murderous glare and looked at Tang Xiu. Dear Mr. Tang, I'm very fond of life. I prefer to breathe fresh air and enjoy the splendors this world can offer. The deal I want to have with you is simple. I got a mountain of wealth myself, while my house is just the same. If you need riches, I can offer you lots of wealth as long as you let me go, all in exchange for your friendship. Friendship? Not even a tiny part of Tang Xiu's mind spared it a glance. This guy had just stood on the same side as Angelo, looking at him as a common enemy. Yet, under the threat of death, he blinked and just sold Angelo out. He might as well find tofu as his shield if he offered that kind of friendship. However, Will's proposal still piqued his curiosity, regardless. He was in desperate need of money. The manpower under him was growing, and the rate of resource consumption was far beyond his expectations. So he could only choose to give Will Art such a chance. There's one thing I want to ask first. How much wealth you want to spend to buy your life, then? How much do you think your life is worth? Tang Xiu relit the cigarette and drew a puff before smilingly asking. Contemplating for a moment, Will Art saw his four men were vomiting blood after getting beaten upside down. He immediately shouted, $1 billion US. I'll buy my life with $1 billion. Giving an okay gesture, Tang Xiu loudly laughed. Aha, that's great. This figure is satisfying enough. Ah, Kawako, wait and take it easy. Will Art, you've bought your life, why don't you buy more lives, then? These four men of yours are quite strong, how much are their lives worth? A cold light flashed in Will Art's eyes. He didn't want to spend even a dime for these four trashes that couldn't protect him. But he could tell that Tang Shou still wanted to fish some more from him, so he gave it a thought and gritted his teeth. 100 million US dollars. I value them up to 100 million US dollars, give or take. Giving a thumbs up, Tang Shou praised. That's so generous of you. You make me kinda shocked for such generosity, though. You see my men here, how much do you think I value them? Will Art's face slightly shifted and he looked over at Mo, Kawako, and the rest as he asked, how much is their value to you? Tang Shou got up from the sofa and stretched out 5 fingers. Will Art was surprised and amazed. $500 million? You say the value of your subordinates is worth 500 million US dollars? Are you kidding me? Nope. None of my men are worth 500 million US dollars. Tang Shou shook his head. Nearby, Demon Freak Geezer had already slain 2 powerful experts under Angelo. Upon hearing Tang Shou's words, a cold light flashed in his eyes. He thought all the words Tang Shou spoke before were all bullshit. He never cared about his men. Such a cold-hearted person made the seed of thoughts to escape from Tang Shou's demonic shackles and to avoid the man himself began to multiply. Tang Shou grinningly said, "Nah. I won't ever sell my men even for 10,000 grand nor $500 million, for they are all priceless treasures to me." Disdain was evident on Will Art's face. He shook his head and said, "I never thought you liked to joke so much, Mr. Tang. Everything in this world has a price, including people. My own life is valuable, and theirs also have their own price tag, including my loved ones. So long as the price is high enough, I can. You can kill them or sell them, you say?" Tang Shou sneered. Will Art didn't answer, but his expression betrayed his thoughts, which was in line with Tang Shou's guess. Inwardly, Tang Shou sighed. He looked at Mo and Kawako Yamamoto, asking lightly, "Do you both think it's enough?" Kawako paced forward and respectfully replied, "He can still barely accept the price if it's multiplied by 5, Sect Master." Multiplied by 5? Tang Shou secretly snarled and was flabbergasted. He didn't expect Kawako Yamamoto would be this ruthless to demand such an exorbitant price. 1.1 billion US dollars multiplied by 5 was $5+ billion. Even if Will Art did have the money, could he afford that much? However, something he never expected to appear then showed up. Will Art shot a deep gaze at Kawako Yamamoto and said aloud, "My respectable Mr. Tang, what I just said is perhaps too little, so I hope you can forgive me. After all, I've been a businessman for too long, so I can't help but keep the price down in many cases. I admit your subordinate is correct. I can still accept it if it's multiplied by 5. But that nearly hits my limit." Tang Shou secretly marveled inwardly. He never thought Will Art was this rich. He would be a local tycoon should he a Chinese national. Even if his name were to be listed in the China fortune list, he would definitely be ranked among the top. Deal? Tang Shou smilingly nodded to Will Art. Already in the face of death, Angelo Dolan was like a dying soul. He really wanted to vomit as he watched Tang Shou's hypocritical smile and Will Art's dry and forced smile. What he needed to think at this time, however, was to save his own life as it was the most important thing to him. Even if that meant, he must squeeze out a huge wealth just like Will Art. Angelo shot a look at Tang Shou and said aloud, "I apologize for what I did to your men, Mr. Tang. The conflicts between us are also my fault, but I'm willing to buy my life, so do please state your price." "Oh." Tang Shou let out a vague smile at him. Suddenly, he raised his thumbs up and praised. "You're a smart man, and a smart man can live for a long time. So, what do you think about yourself? Do you think your life is more valuable than Will Art's? Or is yours much cheaper than his?" White and blue colors intermittently flashed on Angelo's face. He shook his head and said, "I think my life is worth more than Will Art's, Mr. Tang. But my house Dolan is very special. Even if I'm the first in line of the house's successors and the main fostered candidate, I can't put out that much wealth. But Will Art is different since all the rights of his house are in his hands and his father's. That's why he can still squeeze out more. Shut the fuck up, Angelo. Will's eyes turned bloodshot instantly. Never once it occurred to him that Angelo would stab him at this time. Coughing out $5.5 billion was already the limit he could afford. It would be a very unfortunate matter if he were to ask more money from his father. Tang Xiu laughed loudly. To think you can still cough up more money, Will. It seems the price I just asked is really too low, huh? Angelo, I just had a change of mind all of a sudden. I can spare your life if you can put out more money than Will Art within 2 hours. Angelo shivered in silence and kept still for a few minutes. Then, he said in a deep voice, I'll need to call my father. He's the only one who can withdraw such amount of money, whereas I only have $1 billion under my control. Tang Xiu raised his brows and said, give him a laptop and let him transfer that $1 billion to our account. Chapter 1097, Interest. Mo let out a bit of sarcastic sneer. He had been following Tang Xiu for some time and knew well some of Tang Xiu's side. Although he didn't know the specific reasons, the fact that the people of House Dolan were already sentenced to death was impossible to change. Therefore, even if Angelo Dolan put out more than $1 billion, it was unlikely he could change the outcome of his death. Online wire transfer. He took out a laptop from his interspatial ring as he spoke to Angelo in a deep voice. Seeing Mo take out a laptop as if summoning it made Angelo shocked immediately. He carefully observed Mo for a while before receiving the laptop and said aloud to Tang Xiu, I can transfer the money to your account now, but how can you guarantee you won't kill me? I always mean what I say. I promised I'll spare your life, so I won't kill you, said Tang Xiu indifferently. Guarantee? Oral statement is not a guarantee. Somehow, Angelo couldn't help but feel a bit uneasy. But he still gritted his teeth and bit the bullet and deposited more than $1 billion in his Swiss bank account, to the account Tang Xiu gave him. After the wire transfer was completed, he asked, can I contact my father now? No hurry. Tang Xiu waved and said, let's deal with some other things first. Will Art, Angelo just transferred the money to my account, so, shouldn't you also transfer the money? Don't joke with me that what you just said is to amuse me. I'm pretty much a petty man and that will make me angry. Inwardly, Will Art had some regrets for he had already offended Angelo Dolan, but Tang Xiu didn't intend to kill that fella anymore. It would mean that he must be careful to guard against this guy in the future. Alright, I'll transfer the money now. Will took the laptop and transferred $5.5 billion to Tang Xiu's account through a dozen bank accounts. Wearing a happy smile, Tang Xiu thought that it was truly unexpected that he could earn such a big harvest while hunting Angelo Dolan. The money he squeezed out of the two men was nearly $7 billion, which was a little over 40 billion in RMB. Making money by robbing and being a brigand is truly great. It's so easy to make money. Anyways, Tang Guang, send Angelo and his men off. I hope they can learn a lesson from this and never trust others in the next life. Tang Xiu sat back on the sofa and lifted one of his legs atop the other and issued an order with a smile. Got it. After storing the laptop into the interspatial ring, Mo instantly appeared in front of Angelo Dolan. Before he attacked the fella, two sword lights directly flashed and slew the two old men who had been badly wounded. He then controlled the immortal sword and impaled Angelo the moment after. Puff. Angelo Dolan coughed up a mouthful of blood and covered his pierced chest. Disbelief was all his eyes showed as he shouted, Why? You obviously took my money. Why still kill me? I just said I wouldn't kill you, but I never said that my men wouldn't. Tang Xiu mockingly replied, Your house Dolan is already damned, and I'll make sure to get rid of the SOE company as well as the rest of armed forces under your house. But why? Angelo's body trembled and shouted as dizziness began to engulf him. You may be known as the best genius of House Dolan, but your status is too low, so you're not qualified to know anything. Tang Xiu grinned. Bam. Angelo slammed into the floor and died in just half a minute. Fear was evident in Will Art's eyes, for he never expected that Tang Xiu would turn hostile in but a flash. He was all smiling and amiable when he just asked for money, but now he just directly killed Angelo Dolan. If he ordered his men to kill him, then he would. Plopping down on his knees, Will Art said aloud with a face full of fear, "Please spare my life, dear Mr. Tang. We have no hatred whatsoever. I did threaten Moa and Kawako Yamamoto then, but it was because I valued their abilities. As long as you can spare me, I'm willing to pay you another $5.5 billion once I return. Please give me 3 days. The money will definitely be on your account within 3 days." Tang Xiu floated up and stepped on the void step by step. Looking at pleading Will Art, he smilingly said, "There's no need to be afraid, Will. I just said I won't kill you, so I won't kill you myself. Besides, I know when to stop. You've given me $5.5 billion, so I can guarantee your life. And let's spare the next $5.5 billion. The statement made Will Art more scared since Tang Xiu wouldn't demand more money. His heart was like falling into a glacier and he bitterly said, What else do you need, Mr. Tang?" Tang Xiu stroked his chin and said, "If I didn't misunderstand, you just had a deal with Angelo Dolan about a diamond mine in Africa, right?"
Yeah.
House Dolan took over a large diamond mine in Africa. It was just recently discovered. Will Art nodded without hesitation. The mine has large diamond reserves that it will even impact the diamond market and prices around the world if all of it is mined. Tang Xiu's eyes lit up and he smilingly said, "House Dolan robbed that diamond mine, so why can't we snatch it from them? You've seen my power, and I can tell you that these men of mine are but a few among many others I have. I can dispatch a much more powerful team of cultivators if I want to." Will Art stared dumbly and probed. "Mr. Tang, you mean, you'd like to cooperate with us to snatch that Dante diamond mine from House Dolan? And then share the profits and interests later?" Tang Xiu raised up 5 fingers and lightly said, 50-50 shares. Will Art's eyes lit up and immediately said aloud, 30-70. You get 70% and House Art will take 30%. What do you think? Like I said, 50-50. Tang Xiu smiled. You take it and we can plan the taking over of that Dante diamond mine now. About that, all right, I agree. Earning much more was something Will Art didn't dislike naturally. He was now more concerned about his own life and safety, to begin with. All right, take your men and board my liner. Tang Xiu waved and said, I'll deal with the present problem before finding you. All right. Will Art wasn't afraid that Tang Xiu would resort to any machinations since such means were not needed. The man would just straightly kill him if he wanted to. On the deck, Tang Xiu watched Will Art disappear into the cabin of the liner he boarded along with his 4 men. His eyes slowly shifted to Angelo Dolan's dead body and he gently kicked its waist with his toe. Then, he coldly said, Your life, those genetic warriors' lives, and the $1 billion you just transferred are nothing but interests. I'll demand the principal debt with your family in the future, so I hope everyone from your house Dolan is living well now. After a while, he returned to the liner. As the liner slowly left and sailed away for 5+ nautical miles, those 2 luxury liners exploded. Sitting on the cabin, Will Art watched the explosion scene. His heart twitched a few times as his losses this time were just too great, more than the figure he earned in the last 5 years. Further, he could expect to face some greatly troublesome issues even if he could go back alive this time. Sect Master Moa quickly came to Tang Xiu's side and whispered, We've released those 4 models and some people who have nothing to do with them as per your order. We put them on 4 small canoes, but the chance of them to land ashore alive is almost 0. They have encountered such a thing, so it doesn't matter, said Tang Xiu faintly. Only, can they row those canoes to the nearby island? The storm will sweep over the waters here in about 20 minutes, and the closest island is about 300 to 400 nautical miles away, said Mo. Additionally, there are many sharks nearby, so they are dead already. If they die, then just let them die, replied Tang Xiu apathetically. Those women are not chaste, virtuous, nor are they martyrs. Their deaths will rid the world of some disasters. Mo looked at Will Art and asked, Sect Master, what if this guy spreads what we've done today? Will it cause trouble for us? Tang Xiu shot a look at Will Art, whose complexion greatly changed, and smilingly asked, Well, will you? Will Art raised his left arm and solemnly said, I've already forgotten everything that happened today. I only remember that I got hit by a storm at sea that led to the deaths of many men. Only I and these 4 men of mine survived, and we were lucky to bump into Mr. Tang who saved our lives. You're very smart, Mr. Art. Tang Xiu praised. I love dealing with smart people, and you've also made it up with your money although you've offended me. Therefore, I hope we can be friends in the future, and even, partners. That's for sure, replied Will Art respectfully. You're a smart man, and you know how tremendous the power I have at my fingertips is, continued Tang Xiu with a smile. If I want to obliterate your family, I can just send a group of my men to slay every living thing in your house, be it humans or animals. Hence, you must know what should be said and what shouldn't. I understand. Please rest assured, said Will Art respectfully. All right, let's chat about that diamond mine now, said Tang Xiu with a happy face. The mine is said to have large reserves of diamond deposit, so House Dolan will send a large number of elite soldiers to guard it. But what I want to know is, do you have any good idea to snatch this diamond mine? Eyes flickered with lights, Will Art said in a deep tone, There's no need for you to act, Mr. Tang. Just send someone to help and I'll secure that diamond mine very quickly. Chapter 1098, Being Left with No Choice. Waves surged on the sea surface as a speedboat whizzed towards Saipan. Several hundreds of meters away from the speedboat was a liner where Tang Xiu was standing quietly, on the bow deck with hands behind his back, watching the speedboat gradually disappear at the horizon. Do you really feel at ease, Sect Master? Mo looked a bit different. He knew very well about Will Art. He never believed that this fella would just honestly keep his word. Tang Xiu sported a smile and asked, Do you know why I let that old devil leave with Will Art? You don't want to bring Demon Freak Geezer to 9 Dragons Island, asked Mo. That's one reason, replied Tang Xiu lightly. Demon Freak Geezer isn't one of ours yet. Even if he is sincere to work for us, it will take a long time to test him. 9 Dragons Island is our stronghold and the holy ground of the Tang sect. It must not be easily exposed before we have become the most powerful force in the world. Then, about the other reason, continued Mo. Demon Freak Geezer knows we are powerful. Furthermore, his life is literally under my control, so he naturally won't dare to betray me so easily, said Tang Xiu. I made him leave with Will Art, on the one hand, to restrain him, while on the other hand, he can act as a supervisor to control Will Art. My strength may deter this old devil and it's the reason why he became my underling, but wanting him to be loyal will be very difficult. More than that, I know he wants to be stronger. I can give him that chance. Using threats and enticement will make it easier for me to control him. Well, it seems impossible to me that that old devil can easily escape from your palm, Sect Master. Mo caught the gist suddenly and smiled. There's nothing absolute in this world, Tang Xiu shook his head and said, Don't forget that golden armored zombie back when we were in Western China. I cast the same seal on him, yet he ultimately chose to betray me. Mo's countenance turned a bit solemn. He nodded and said, The longer old freaks live, the more their selfishness. I understand what you mean, Sect Master. We got the entire Saipan under our control now, so we can put away the issues here for a while. Tang Shou smiled. Let's go back to Nine Dragons Island and deal with the things there first before I return to China. The fast-moving speedboat quickly broke the waves and sailed towards Saipan. At this time, a strange expression was evident on Will Art's face. He didn't spare a glance at the four seriously injured men but stared at Demon Freak Geezer for a long time. Is that enough for you, kiddo? Demon Freak Geezer took out a cigar case and fished a cigar from the inside. After he lit it up and took some puffs, he leisurely spoke. I believe we're already friends since I've already become Mr. Tang's partner, Demon Freak Geezer. Will Art smiled. But still, I'm really curious. Angelo Dolan thought that you were a friend. He even looked so happy that you'd come then, but why did you choose to betray him? Demon Freak Geezer rolled his eyes and said, what's wrong in following an expert? Tang Xiu is a powerful man, and he is likely to have an enormous power behind him as well. That's why he's qualified to make work for him. Besides, I must correct you on a fact, Angelo Dolan has never been my friend. He never regarded me like one, and there was only cooperation between us. Will Art shook his head and said, that's not what I mean. You're not as simple as a friend for him. I heard from Angelo that there had been quite some confidential cooperations between you both then. A cold light flashed in Demon Freak's eyes as he said coldly, it was indeed a secret to outsiders, but it's no secret for me now. I can tell you about that if you want to know. I'm the one who contributed the most to the research on genetic warriors in the secret lab of House Dolan. Moreover, I also mastered the formula. His countenance changing, Will Art vigilantly stared at Demon Freak Geezer. What do you mean by that? Don't forget that I have a cooperation with Mr. Tang. He'll be very furious if you dare to mess with me. Demon Freak Geezer just glanced at him casually in response and said in contempt, I already knew all along that you're not some good shit, boy. Though I didn't expect you to have a head full of bad thoughts. Anyhow, you guessed right. I dare tell you that I want to kill you. Only, you threatened me with Tang Xiu and that made me feel a bit thorny. So tell me, should I kill you or not? Will Art was inwardly shaken. He may still have confidence if his four men were not injured. But they were badly injured and he himself wasn't this Demon Freak Geezer's match at all. Hence, he secretly regretted stirring up a hornet nest before. What should I do? Should I just sit and wait for death? He suddenly felt like he was just falling into an illusion where he just escaped from the tiger's mouth and now fell into the wolf's den. Do you have some disloyal thoughts towards Tang Xiu, old devil? Will Art vigilantly questioned. He was ready to gamble. Loyalty? Demon Freak Geezer scoffed at the notion and said, I admit Tang Xiu's power is very strong and he can force me to bow my head. But he must come up with more valuable conditions if he wants to make me loyal to him. He gave me some benefits, that I admit. And that what makes me loyal to him. So to say, you're just loyal to your own interest. Then, how making a deal with me? Will Art nodded. You're a smart boy. It's no wonder you've been recruiting people all over the world and secretly building your own force. Demon Freak Geezer praised with a thumbs up. You know, you make me very curious, Will Art. How powerful is the force behind you? That's something many can't imagine, replied Will Art. It's just that I'm short on powerhouses like you. That's a given, I tell you. How come a strong expert like me would be willing to pledge allegiance to others, to begin with? Demon Freak Geezer replied in mockery. Money is nothing but trash to people like me. Although privileges may entice us, it's much better to make ourselves stronger. As for bells. This old man has been living for a few centuries, what kind of beauty I haven't seen. Do you think I'll be attracted by beauties and whatnot? Will Art's face turned a bit ugly. He fell into silence for a long time and then said in a deep voice, I know that every man has their own needs and wants. You can ask what you want and I'll get mine. Demon Freak Geezer raised his brows and squinted. He scrutinized Will Art seriously and raised a thumbs up, praising. You're the most ambitious young man I've ever seen. You also got great luck that I can't help but applaud for you. You're correct. There are things I want in this world, and I can sell you those genetic agents if you can get them. I want the formula, replied Will Art in a deep voice. Do you think it's possible? The old devil sneered. Will Art's breath stagnated and he looked a bit helpless. In actuality, he was crystal clear that this old devil literally had a gold mine since in hands. Unless he could give him something even more valuable, he would never sell it to him. All right, then state what you want. I need medicinal herbs. Lots of precious ones, said Demon Freak Geezer. If you have no idea what precious herbs are, you can send some people to China to find some Chinese medicine books. There are records of precious herbs on them. I'm sure you know some of them, for instance, Millennium Wild Ginseng, Millennium Snow Lotus, Empyrean Goldthread Pearl, Red Spider Lily, and many others. Will Art looked terrified and asked, how do you know about the Empyrean Goldthread Pearl and Red Spider Lily? Did you forget who my former companion was? Demon Freak Geezer sneered. Will Art's eyes shrunk and he looked shocked. He knew who this old devil's former companion was, the notorious old devil in the dark world, Tao Master Poison, a very poisonous old devil and a poison master whose power made many not dare to provoke him. Only, there was something that made Will Art very curious. Why did this Tao Master Poison not appear? It must be noted that this Demon Freak Geezer had always been seen together with Tao Master Poison. Wherever the former appeared, the latter would also be there, and vice versa. Did he turn to someone else? Could Tao Master be with someone else? Rolling his eyes as though he was able to read Will Art's thoughts, Demon Freak Geezer lightly said. No need to mull over it. Tao Master Poison is already dead. Say what? Will Art utterly lost control and exclaimed, you said Tao Master Poison is already dead? How can that be? He's a poison master, who can kill him that easily? I thought you were very smart. Humph, never thought you don't get it at all, said Demon Freak Geezer lightly with raised brows. Will Art stared dumbly before a horrified look appeared on his face. He pondered for half a minute, then raised his head with difficulty and muttered, you mean, the one who killed Tao Master Poison is Mr. Tang? Who else is there beside him? Demon Freak Geezer sneered. This guy, bah, forget it. Spare the talk about that bizarre person and let's chat about our deal. I won't kill or harm you if you're willing to cooperate with me. I can even protect you a few times. Deal? Will Art resolutely replied. He had no other choice left at this moment. He was likely to meet his end if he refused. But after complying, he felt that it wouldn't bring any harm to him but benefits instead. That benefit was the genetic agents. He was indeed an ambitious young man. His house didn't belong to nor was affiliated to any power. Their power may not on par with those top 3 powers in the world, but he believed that he could one day dominate those 3 colossi one day in the future through his own efforts. Let's chat about the details then, Demon Freak Geezer. He shot a cautious look at the old devil. As smart and ever cautious as he was, only once he acted carelessly and underestimated others. That was his only mistake, yet it nearly made him lose his life in this sea. Chapter 1099, Cultivation Speed. We can discuss the details, but I need one condition fulfilled from you before we talk. Demon Freak Geezer seriously said, also, you must not disclose it, for I will find and assassinate you even if you hide in the most hidden spot in the world otherwise. Will Art held his breath. He couldn't ignore this old devil's threat, so he nodded and said, state your conditions then. Tang Shou mustn't know anything about our deal, said Demon Freak Geezer. I may be loyal to him for now, but that's because he can give me what I want. Hence, the deal between us must be kept a secret, and not even a peep of it can be disclosed. In actuality, this issue was also what Will wanted to state out, so he nodded firmly. Medicinal herbs were just minor issues in this deal since he had many people literally everywhere and thus, finding precious herbs was easy. However, the genetic agents were very rare, something he must take under his sole possession so as to train a large number of genetic warriors he could use in the future. I promise. All right. Happy laughter was heard as the two men came to an agreement. On Nine Dragons Island, Chang Yannan was sitting atop the palace roof, looking bored while basking in the warm sun and enjoying the gentle breeze. Such a leisure life was something that couldn't be compared with her situation back when in the South China Sea, which was much more satisfying. It was because this island had too many restrictions. Many stern guards always stopped her whenever she wanted to stroll freely to some places. What exactly is Tang Xiu doing? He hasn't settled me here, yet he straightly left Nine Dragons Island. Didn't he agree to train me? She grabbed some salted dried melon seeds from the plate at the side while looking at the sea. Whoosh! A figure flickered and instantly appeared near her. Gu Yin grabbed the melon seeds from the plate, threw it into her mouth and smiled. You're really enjoying yourself, big sis Yannan. But, don't you have to practice, though? The latter rolled her eyes. What should I practice? I've cultivated the cultivation technique I've been taught all these days, but I can't cultivate any true essence energy at all. How could so easy to cultivate true essence? Gu Yin chuckled and said, but haven't you sensed the energy in your body from your own special ability? Why don't you try manipulating that energy and circulate it according to the cultivation route? Master says the universe has innumerable types of energy, it's fine as long as you can make that energy for your own use. Chang Yannan's eyes lit up. She immediately patted her own forehead and cried out, alas, why didn't I think about it before? Dear Yin, you're really smart. All right, wait here. I'm going to try to cultivate now. Wait until I succeed and I'll take you to fly with me into the sky in the future and enjoy the scenery from above.
Ah.
I don't need you to take me to the sky to enjoy the scenery, big sis Yannan. I can do it myself, said Gu Yin. Yin dear, just wait and see, said Chang Yannan confidently. Big sis will be able to fly to the sky sooner than you. Tee-hee. Gu Yin let out crisp laughter. Her slender arm grabbed Chang Yannan's waist and they both streaked up to the sky instantly.
Ah.
A sharp cry came from Chang Yannan's mouth. She was so scared that her body felt cold, disbelief fully painting her face. Fly. I'm flying. A 10-year-old little girl can actually fly. Well, I think you have no hope to fly sooner than me, big sis Yannan. Gu Yin laughed. But I'll take you to watch the scenery in the sky now. Chang Yannan gulped and turned her head to look at Gu Yin's beaming face with difficulty. After a long time was spent stabilizing her mood, she said, I was really like a frog at the bottom of a well. I never thought you were already this powerful. But Yin dear, don't tease big sis, got it? She spoke like that, but she was, in fact, so ashamed that she wanted to find a burrow to hide in. It was really unfortunate that they were about 100 meters in midair, making it impossible for any hole to exist. No worries, big sis Yannan. Gu Yin laughed. I'll never tease nor make fun of you. Besides, you've just begun cultivating and you even haven't yet embarked on the cultivation path. After you've cultivated for some time in the future, I'm sure you'll be able to fly freely in the sky like me. But then again, there's none other than me who can fly in the sky above Nine Dragons Island, though. Huh? Why? Chang Yannan was confused. Aren't there many powerful people here? How can't they fly in the sky? It's an order from Master, answered Gu Yin. Chang Yannan instantly understood the reason after she remembered some areas she wanted to go but were forbidden to visit. Then, she nodded and said, "It seems once Big Sis has succeeded in cultivating true essence and has the ability to fly, Big Sis still won't be able to fly on Nine Dragons Island and take you with me to enjoy the scenery, then." Guin chuckled in response. As she was about to speak, her face suddenly shifted and her eyes lit up as they fixated on a certain direction in the distance. Her face looked happy and she loudly cried out, "Great, Master's back." Having said that, she towed Cheng Yannan and came to the entrance of the Nine Dragons Islands array instantly. The duo then saw as a liner quickly entered and docked at the port. "Master." Releasing Cheng Yannan, Guin flashed and instantly appeared before Tang Xiu. Tang Xiu slightly smiled and touched her ear, asking, "Well, how's your cultivation recently? Did you happen to break through again?"
Nah.
Yinin hasn't advanced yet, but my cultivation has grown deeper. Guin shook her head and grinningly said, "But don't feel disappointed in me, Master. Yinin will soon break through to the nascent soul stage." Nascent soul stage? A terrified look appeared on Cheng Yannan's face. She had learned about the cultivator's cultivation levels. But even her dreams, she never ever thought that Guin would soon advance to the nascent soul stage at just 10 years old. Behind Tang Xiu, Mo, Tang Guang, and the rest exchanged dismayed glances and looked ashamed. They thought they had a great talent for cultivation. They had true Qi foundation back then and, after taking a lot of pills, it was already very amazing to them to have advanced to the golden core stage. And yet, every time they heard Gu Yin's progress, they were always greatly stimulated and agitated. No matter how hard their efforts were, they had always been unable to be on par with Gu Yin's cultivation speed. "Damn, she's a little monster." Everyone in the group secretly sighed inwardly. You know that haste makes waste on the cultivation path, don't you? You don't need to rush to advance to the nascent soul stage at once. Tang Xiu chuckled and said, "Just stay at the golden core stage for a while to sense your cultivation level as well as improving your state of mind. Your future progress will be much faster if your state of mind improves fast enough." Guin seemed to vaguely understand it and nodded. "Yinin will remember it, Master. However, I'm already able to fully control my power now. You told me that I can only practice for up to 4 hours a day, and I only need less to practice every day now." The mouths of Mo's group twitched and they looked up at the sky. They suddenly felt so stupid comparing their cultivation speed with Guin. Her cultivation speed literally made them have no face as her elders on the cultivation path. Tang Xiu patted Gu Yin's shoulder and his eyes then landed on Cheng Yannan. He took her to Nine Dragons Island out of the intention to make her stay and cultivate seriously in this place to then embark on the cultivation path as soon as possible. But the incident where Jinshi's team was ambushed and returned seriously injured, and the turbulent situation in Saipan made him lead his men to rush to Saipan. Thus, there was no time to settle her down. "How's the place to you?" Cheng Yannan asked Tang Xiu. "It's great, but I got nothing to do, so it's boring." Cheng Yannan nodded. "You won't get bored again since I've come back, though." Tang Xiu lightly smiled. "Anyway, I'll escort Cheng Yannan to the training camp later to train with the children and cultivate there. Additionally, allocate some cultivation resources for her and let her start taking some pills once she breaks through to the Qi refining stage." "Understood." Mo replied and turned to look at Cheng Yannan. After hearing Tang Xiu's arrangement, Cheng Yannan immediately felt excited. She had long been looking forward to training. Now that she was finally listed in the arrangement, she couldn't wait to go there immediately. Furthermore, Gu Yin's reminder gave her some insights and made her impatient to try it. Tang Xiu then shifted his eyes to Tang Guang and the rest. "Kawako, you're staying. The rest are dismissed." Shortly after, Tang Guang and the rest left, leaving only Tang Xiu and a respectful Kawako Yamamoto. Tang Xiu paced forward and headed to the palace while lightly speaking, I told you then I didn't expect that your progress in cultivation was so fast and advanced to the golden core stage so soon. But you've never experienced cultivating in our sect, and just fumbled around by yourself. Therefore, I'm going to teach you some knowledge on the cultivation path in the next few days and help you absorb all the medicinal efficacy accumulated in your system. I'll listen to all your arrangements, Sect Master, replied Kawako respectfully. Tangxiu lightly smiled and entered the palace with Kawako. After having a quick meal, he changed his clothes and took her to the beach. Get on board, called Tangxiu after jumping on a speedboat and starting it. Kawako didn't hesitate. After she jumped on the speedboat, Tangxiu took a quick voyage to the outer array of the island and then stopped the speedboat on the sea after several minutes. What's this, Sect Master? Asked Kawako with a puzzled face as she looked at Tangxiu. Jump into the deep sea and keep sinking all the way down. And remember, you're to hold on and keep doing it until you've reached your limit, said Tangxiu lightly. Having said that, he produced energy fluctuations around him and quickly jumped off the speedboat and sank down. Kawako couldn't make heads or tails of what training Tangxiu had in store for her, but she still gritted her teeth and followed suit. At the same time, she released her own true essence and made a half-inch barrier to make sure she wouldn't be drenched wet by the water. 50 meters. 100 meters. 200 meters. As the 200 meters depth beneath the sea surface was reached, Tangxiu stopped and waited calmly. Soon after, Kawako then appeared in front of him. Can you still keep up? Said Tangxiu, transmitting his voice. Chapter 1100, You arranged me there on purpose. The true essence energy released by Kawako Yamamoto could force back the enormous pressure by the seawater, but she couldn't speak since the seawater would fill her mouth once she opened it. Hence, she could only nod with difficulty while struggling to withstand the pressure. You can nod, so that means this depth isn't your limit yet, continued Tangxiu. Keep going down, but you must stop when you can't withstand it anymore. Kawako herself already felt very uncomfortable at this time. She couldn't help but feel cold when she heard Tangxiu's order. Although she wasn't able to figure out how Tangxiu would train her, she had a faint hunch that she was about to face torture. Just as she had thought, when she sank down to 260 meters depth, her beautiful body began to tremble violently. Green veins protruded out on her forehead and even blood threads could be seen appearing on her retina. I can't withstand any more than this. Kawako finally stopped. Although the released true essence energy protected her from being pressured into meat paste by the seawater, she had no strength left to even talk. The true essence energy even began to protect her eyes from the pressure of seawater. Tangxiu, who had been following her closely, saw her stop and immediately said, Stop here if you sense this is your critical line, and do your best to circulate the true essence in your system. Try to absorb the water energy in the seawater to supplement the consumed true essence. Kawako didn't reply and just followed Tangxiu's instructions, going all out to circulate the true essence in her system to flow into the meridians, to her limbs, and the 5 major bones. Yet, she felt helpless upon sensing the rate of consumption of her true essence and tried to sense the energy contained in the seawater. After absorbing it, she found that the absorption rate was far less than the consumption speed. 10 minutes. I can only hold up to 10 minutes at most before I run out of true essence. I'll be likely to end up dead if I can't leave the seabed in time once my true essence fully runs out. These thoughts flashed in Kawako's mind as she tried to persist. She believed that Tangxiu wouldn't harm her, because such means was unnecessary since it would only need a move or thought for Tangxiu to kill her. Time ticked by every second and minute, and 6 minutes passed in the blink of an eye. Kawako's body trembling got more intense and she realized that she overestimated herself, because the consumption rate was getting faster the more time passed. Moreover, she could clearly feel a pain that began to wrap her body, like being pricked by countless needles. Spiritual energy. I need spiritual energy. Her character could be said to be the manifestation of perseverance and resoluteness. She had been tempered by her clan and trained by the North Star one-blade swordsmanship since childhood. The inhuman training had polished her willpower to steel. Persevere. Persevere. Just as Kawako's senses began to blur due to the pressure and her consciousness was blurring, a stream of heat suddenly emerged from all parts of her pained body. It was like the warmth of a mother's hands soothing her body. At that moment, countless streams of warm energy flowed and gathered in her dantian. In just 10 seconds, the change felt like hell had transformed into heaven. The rending pains torturing her body were all gone, replaced by a comfortable sensation. The change made her ecstatic. Then, as time went on, she could feel the pain engulf her whole body again. As the pain got more and more intense, her body finally reached the limit and led her to a huge breakthrough. A trace of warmth appeared again and the medicinal efficacy hidden in her body was constantly being forced out to then be absorbed and refined into true essence. Once, twice, thrice. In just 15 minutes, Kawako broke through her limits thrice and absorbed 2/3 of the medicinal efficacy hidden in her system. It's nearly done. Tang Xiu quietly floated in front of Kawako, looking at the painful expression on her face. He immediately grabbed her hand and quickly towed her upward. Splash. Along with the splashing water, Tang Xiu towed Kawako to pierce through the water surface. After returning to the speedboat, he straightly put her down and took out a pill from his interspatial ring. After stuffing it into her mouth, he ordered. Don't think about anything. Empty your mind and circulate your energy according to your cultivation technique. Sitting cross-legged on the floor, Kawako kept her eyes shut from beginning to end. As she continued cultivating, she found that her ability to sense the world's energy around her became much clearer. Even when she ran out of energy, she found that she could sense and find some other energy apart from the heaven and earth spiritual chi. The process was like reeling silk from cocoon as a forceful suction followed. A suction force emitted from Kawako's body and continuously absorbed the drifting world energy around. 4 hours later, when she opened her eyes, an intense pleasant surprise filled her eyes. She floated up, knelt on one knee and placed her right fist on her left chest, saluting respectfully. Thank you for your instruction in cultivation, Sect Master. I can sense I've made great progress from cultivating just now. I've almost reached the critical point of the mid-stage of Golden Core. I'm sure I can break through to the late stage of Golden Core if I continue practicing with this method. Very good. Your performance is better than I expected. Tang Xiu lightly smiled and said, it seems you have very strong willpower. And you do need this strength on the cultivation path to go much further. Anyhow, we'll cease the seabed training for now since you need to undergo another training. May I know what kind of training is it? Asked Kawako hurriedly. Although Tang Xiu's training was very painful, the benefits she received gave her a happy surprise. Therefore, she was willing to take on this brutal training. Tang Xiu raised his hand and moved lightning fast to seal a few acupoints on Kawako's body. Then, he slightly smiled. You have abundant true essence, but if your physique is very poor, it will eventually cause your body to explode since it can't withstand the energy. You are different from Ah and the rest. They have been training their constitutions with intense training to strengthen their physique many times, but you haven't. I just found you have bad endurance and physique. What you need to do next is some heavyweight training. This training is even more inhuman, though it can whet your willpower, destroy your nerves, and temper your physique. Be sure to be mentally prepared, for you will fall to insanity if you fail to withstand the torturing pain from the training. Kawako's complexion changed. There was a slight fear when she looked at Tang Xiu. She had expected the next training would be inhuman, but to be that brutal was unexpected to her. It was likely that physical training was more than just physical pain. Master. Guyin was as though a streak of light as she flashed toward the speedboat from the distant horizon. Tang Xiu's brows furrowed and he shifted his focus to the flying Guyin. He was silent for a few seconds. After Gu Yin appeared in front of him, he looked at her and inquired. Why did you come here? Is there anything urgent? You haven't gone too far, fortunately, master, else it would have been difficult to find you, said Gu Yin. It's about big sis Yannan, she's looking for you. What does she want from me? Asked Tang Xiu. Haven't I already made Odd take her to the training camp? Gu Yin laughed and said. You'll know about it when you see her, master. Sis Yannan, she. Well, she's angry, shouting she wants to leave Nine Dragons Island and go back to the South China Sea to plant herbs and rear fierce beasts. With his sharp mind, Tang Xiu immediately realized the root of the problem upon hearing Gu Yin's report. A strange smile unknowingly appeared on his handsome face as he nodded. Well, let's go back and see her since she's throwing a tantrum now. Really, though. This girl needs to be polished since she wants to be useful. Well, Big Sis Yannan is actually very stern and powerful though, master. Gu Yin chuckled. Bah, leave it. Tang Xiu reprimanded smilingly. You're not to meddle in her training, all right? If you have some free time, study more and help your mom. She's already old and her cultivation talent is lacking. It would be very difficult to turn into an expert and bring her with us if we don't give her special care. Gu Yin's countenance slightly changed and she respectfully replied immediately, I understand, master. Immediately after, Tang Xiu returned to Nine Dragons Island with Gu Yin and Kawako. Before the speedboat was even docked, he already saw the angry-looking Chang Yannan standing on the shore along with a helpless-looking Mo Ao. Did you plan it on purpose, Tang Xiu? Chang Yannan didn't wait until Tang Xiu jumped ashore before angrily hitting him with a question. Tang Xiu's face turned cold and coldly said, Did you forget what I told you? You're not allowed to address me by my name. Chang Yannan held her breath and suddenly remembered Tang Xiu's status. Her scowling face eased up, but she still said discontentedly, I know you're a sect master now, but I still want to ask you, why did you throw me to that group of children soldiers? How old are they? 4, 5 years old, or 7 or 8 years old? Do you think I haven't stepped on the cultivation path, so you put me there on purpose? I looked into the account that we are old classmates and friends, so I accepted you into the Tang sect to shelter you, Cheng Yannan, said Tang Xiu indifferently. But it doesn't mean I can tolerate your ignorance. Do you think I did that to you on purpose just because they're young? Chang Yannan's face turned a bit ugly, but she gritted her teeth and said, That's right, you just threw me to the group of children. What result I can get from training with them? You must have come out of the training ground for a long time now, right? Asked Tang Xiu. Though she was unable to understand Tang Xiu's question, Cheng Yannan still nodded.
Yeah.
I've waited for 4 hours. Let me tell you, Cheng Yannan. Cultivators never care about people's age. Only the strong have the right to speak or dislike others. You feel you're already an adult, so training with a group of children is shameful to you, isn't that so? Tang Xiu sneered. Isn't that obvious? Replied Cheng Yannan with a headstrong attitude.